This is the story of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, a man who united warring kingdoms, standardized laws, and commanded an empire with absolute force, yet spent the final years of his life chasing a secret that may never have existed. He searched not for gold or territory, but for immortality. He rose from the state of Qin as a young king hardened by betrayal and siege, watching rival courts plot his death before he was old enough to grow a beard. By 39, he had crushed 6 kingdoms and declared himself Huangdi, a title meant for divine rulers, not mortal men. Under his command, walls stretched across mountains, roads cut through valleys, and a new script bound distant provinces together. He weighed coins, measured carts, and rewrote law. Every detail of life bent toward order. Yet in private chambers, something unsettled him, something no decree could silence. The records speak of omens, of falling stars and trembling earth. They whisper of prophecies that the dynasty would not survive its founder. The emperor who controlled armies feared time itself. He feared decay, betrayal by his own body, the quiet approach of death that no sword could repel. So he turned to alchemists, mystics, and magicians who claimed to know the secrets of the heavens. They promised elixirs brewed from rare minerals, talismans carved with ancient signs, rituals whispered at night. They promised what no general could guarantee: life without end. One name rises from the shadows: Xu Fu, a court magician who spoke of islands in the eastern sea where immortals dwelt. He described mountains floating above waves, guarded by beasts and spirits, where a sacred elixir could be found. The emperor listened and believed. Xu Fu requested ships, provisions, and thousands of young men and women to accompany him. He said the immortals demanded purity and tribute. The emperor granted everything. A fleet set sail into the unknown, vanishing beyond the horizon while the court watched in silence. Months passed, then years. No word returned. Some said storms swallowed the fleet. Others claimed Xu Fu found the islands and chose never to come back. In distant legends across the sea, stories later told of a stranger who arrived and never left, bringing knowledge from Qin. The emperor did not punish the silence. Instead, he sent more expeditions, more envoys searching for mountains that drifted on mist. Each journey drained treasure and faith. Each failure tightened the grip of fear around the throne. Inside the palace, alchemists worked day and night. They mixed mercury with jade powder, ground rare herbs, sealed potions in bronze vessels. They assured the emperor that transformation required patience, that the body must first be purified through powerful substances. He consumed their mixtures without hesitation. Ironically, many of these elixirs were laced with mercury, a metal believed to preserve the flesh. It shimmered like liquid silver, a symbol of eternity. No one dared question the wisdom of the concoctions placed before him. At the same time, he ordered the construction of a tomb unlike any the world had seen. Beneath Mount Li, laborious carved chambers large enough to hold a kingdom in miniature. Rivers of mercury were said to flow through its halls, mirroring the landscapes above. Terracotta soldiers, thousands strong, were molded with distinct faces and armored for war in the afterlife. Chariots, horses, officials, musicians, all crafted from clay, stood ready to serve him beyond death. It was a monument built for a man who refused to accept dying. Yet the contradiction lingered. Why build an eternal mausoleum while seeking to escape the grave entirely? Was it caution or doubt? Did he suspect that the elixir would fail? Or did he believe immortality required both ritual and preparation? As his tours of inspection continued, the emperor traveled the length of his empire, visiting sacred mountains, performing rites meant to align him with cosmic forces. He carved inscriptions into stone proclaiming his virtue and divine mandate, as if carving his name into the bones of the earth. During one of these journeys, far from the capital, his health began to fail. Court documents grow vague here, as if afraid to speak plainly. Some suggest illness from years of toxic elixirs. Others hint at sudden collapse, swift and alarming. What followed was stranger still. The Prime Minister Li Sai and the eunuch Zhao Jiao concealed the emperor's condition from the court. They feared chaos if the news spread. They feared ambitious princes and generals who might seize power before the body grew cold. 4 days, perhaps weeks, the emperor's death was kept secret while the imperial carriage rolled onward. It is said that carts of salted fish were placed near the royal wagon to mask the smell of decay. The empire believed its ruler still lived. Sealed edicts were drafted in his name. Orders were issued as though his voice still commanded the realm. The line between life and death blurred, and no one dared speak of it. In those moments, who truly ruled China? A final decree appeared. naming his youngest son as successor, bypassing the favored heir. Some accounts insist the emperor changed his mind before dying. Others claim the document was forged by those who held the seals and brushes. The chosen heir, Fusu, never took the throne. A message reached him ordering suicide, bearing the imperial mark. He obeyed without question. Later whispers suggested the order was false, crafted by Zhao Jiao to elevate a more pliable prince. If the emperor truly wrote that command, then his final act shaped the empire's collapse. If he did not, then his silence after death allowed others to rewrite destiny. The truth lies buried with a man who could no longer speak. Back in the capital, the announcement of his passing was delivered carefully, controlled, rehearsed. The body was rushed to the unfinished tomb beneath Mount Li. Rituals were performed, doors sealed, craftsmen silenced to guard the secret layout of the chambers. Stories claim that traps were set to strike intruders, that crossbows would fire automatically, that rivers of mercury flowed beneath the earth. Ancient historians wrote of these wonders, yet the central chamber remains unopened even now, its heart untouched. Did the emperor truly believe he would wake again within those halls, reborn among clay warriors and flowing metal rivers? Or had he already surrendered to the idea that eternity meant memory, not breath? The empire he forged began to fracture almost immediately. Rebellions flared, generals defected, and within a few years the Qin dynasty collapsed. The system built to endure forever crumbled with shocking speed. Some later writers portrayed him as a tyrant punished by heaven, a cautionary tale about hubris. Others saw a visionary who grasped unity at terrible cost. Both images obscure the private desperation of a ruler bargaining with the cosmos. Xu Fu was never officially condemned. No record describes his execution. It is as if the emperor refused to admit he had been deceived, or perhaps clung to the hope that somewhere beyond the sea, the secret of immortality was real. The mercury found in the soil of the tomb mound suggests that rivers of the metal may indeed lie below. If so, then the emperor surrounded himself in death with the very substance he drank in life, trusting it to preserve what could not be preserved. His search for immortality may have hastened his end. The elixirs meant to grant eternal life could have poisoned him slowly, clouding his mind, weakening his body. Yet he never publicly doubted the promise. In the end, the most powerful man in China vanished behind sealed doors, his true final words uncertain, his last commands contested, his body entombed in a chamber no one has entered. His fleet disappeared into legend, his trust placed in men who may have betrayed him. He sought to conquer time as he had conquered kingdoms, believing that will and force could bend even nature to obedience. Instead, time swallowed his dynasty and left only questions carved in stone. Somewhere beneath Mount Li, beneath layers of earth and silence, lies a chamber that might hold answers about his final days, his fears, his faith in elixirs and distant islands. Until it is opened, the emperor's greatest secret remains sealed in darkness. Did Qin Shi Huang die believing he had defeated death? Or did he realize too late that the promise of immortality was the most dangerous illusion of all?